Simple Tales presents The Star Child from the Fairy Tales of Oscar Wilde. Long ago, on a bitter winter night, two poor woodcutters made their way through a forest buried beneath snow. The wind howled through the trees. Ice clung to every branch. The moon shone cold and pale above the world. The men pulled their cloaks tightly around themselves and hurried home. Their families waited, and little food remained in their cottages. As they walked, something strange appeared in the sky. A brilliant star blazed overhead. It shone brighter than any star they had ever seen. Then, to their astonishment, it seemed to fall from heaven. Down it streaked through the darkness, leaving a trail of silver light behind it. The woodcutters stopped. "It has fallen nearby," said one. "Perhaps it is a treasure," said the other. They pushed through the deep snow and followed the star's path. At last, they reached a clearing. There, resting upon a drift of white snow, lay a cloak woven from gold. The cloth sparkled in the moonlight. Certain they had discovered great riches, the woodcutters rushed forward. But when they lifted the cloak, they found no gold beneath it. Instead, they found a sleeping child. The infant's face was beautiful. Tiny stars were embroidered across the golden cloth wrapped around him. One woodcutter frowned. "We are poor men," he said. "We can barely feed our own children." The other looked down at the sleeping baby. The child's small hand had closed around one of his fingers. "We cannot leave him here." So the kinder of the two men carried the child home. His wife was surprised. They had little enough already. Yet when she looked into the infant's face, her heart softened. The child remained with them. And because he had been found beneath a falling star, they called him the Star Child. Years passed. The Star Child grew into the most beautiful boy anyone had ever seen. His hair shone like sunlight. His eyes sparkled like clear water. His face seemed almost touched by magic. People admired him wherever he went. Visitors praised him. Children followed him. Even grown men and women spoke of his beauty. At first, he was merely proud. Then, pride became vanity. Vanity became cruelty. He laughed at those who were poor. He mocked those who were old. If he saw someone who was sick, he turned away in disgust. He encouraged other children to join in his cruelty, and together they tormented anyone who looked weak, poor, or different. The more people praised his beauty, the harder his heart became. Even the woodcutter who had raised him worried about the boy he was becoming. One summer day, a ragged beggar woman entered the village. Her clothes were torn. Her feet were bleeding. Dust covered her face. She moved from house to house, asking for food. Most ignored her. Some gave her scraps. Then she saw the Star Child. Tears immediately filled her eyes. "My son," she whispered. The boy stopped. The woman rushed forward. "For years I have searched for you." The villagers stared. The woman fell to her knees. "When you were an infant, I lost you in the forest. You are my child." The star child looked at her rags. He saw her worn face. He saw her tired eyes, and shame filled him. Not shame for her suffering, shame that someone so poor claimed to be his mother. "You are mad," he said coldly. "I am not your son." The woman reached for him. "My child, I have crossed mountains and forests to find you." But the star child stepped back. "I would rather believe I was the son of a star than the child of a beggar." The villagers gasped. Still, the woman pleaded, yet he mocked her. He drove her away with cruel words. Some versions say stones followed her as she left. Others say she simply walked away in silence. Whatever happened, her heart was broken. The star child watched her disappear down the road. Then he laughed. But when he later bent over a pool of water, his laughter stopped. A stranger stared back at him. He splashed the water. The reflection remained. He touched his face. The creature in the pool touched its face as well. His beautiful face was gone. His skin had become rough and scaled. His features were twisted and ugly. He looked more like a creature from a swamp than a child of the stars. The star child stumbled backward in horror. He ran through the village. But now the people recoiled. Children who once followed him fled. Adults closed their doors. No one admired him anymore. No one praised him. At last he understood. The ugliness he saw outside reflected the ugliness that had long lived within. Filled with sorrow, he set out to find his mother. For 3 years he wandered. He crossed forests. He crossed deserts. He crossed lonely roads where no one knew his name. Many treated him with the same cruelty he had once shown others. Often he went hungry. Often he slept beneath the open sky. Yet he continued searching. One day he fell into the hands of a wicked magician who made him a slave. The magician sent him into the forest. "Bring me a piece of white gold," he commanded. The star child searched all day. Instead, he found a starving hare trapped in a hunter's snare. Though he had little strength left himself, he freed the frightened creature. When evening came, the grateful hare led him to the piece of white gold. But on the road home, a starving beggar asked for help. Without hesitation, the star child gave away the treasure. The magician beat him. The next day, he was sent to find yellow gold. Again, the hare helped him. Again, a suffering stranger crossed his path. Again, he gave the treasure away. The punishment was even harsher. On the 3rd day, he searched for red gold. The hare guided him once more. At last, he found it. Then he met a leper begging for mercy. The star child did not hesitate. He gave away the final piece of gold. For the first time in his life, kindness came naturally. He expected punishment. Instead, a miracle occurred. As he walked toward the city gates, people suddenly bowed before him. Trumpets sounded. Flowers were thrown at his feet. Confused, he looked into a fountain. His beauty had returned. No, it had become greater than before. Once he would have rejoiced to see his beauty restored. Now he scarcely noticed. His first thought was still of his mother. The city welcomed him as a prince, yet he cared nothing for crowns. He cared only for one thing: finding his mother. At last he saw her standing among the crowd. Beside her stood a poor man dressed in worn clothes. The Star Child immediately fell to his knees. "Mother," he cried, "I sinned against you. Forgive me." Tears streamed down his face. "I am not worthy to be called your son." The woman lifted him gently. "There is nothing to forgive," she said. Then something wonderful happened. The beggar woman and the poor man transformed before everyone's eyes. The woman was a queen. The man was a king. They were his true parents. The queen embraced him. "There is nothing to forgive," she said. The Star Child wept, not because he had found a kingdom, but because he had finally found forgiveness. In time, he became king. Unlike the proud boy he had once been, he ruled with kindness. He remembered hunger. He remembered loneliness. He remembered what it felt like to be rejected. Because of this, he showed mercy to the poor and compassion to the weak. His people loved him. Yet his reign was short. After only 3 years, he died. Some say this ending is sad. Perhaps it is. But the true story is not about how long he lived. It is about who he became. The Star Child began life with a beautiful face and a cruel heart. He ended it with a beautiful soul. And that was the greater miracle. The story of the Star Child reminds us that beauty may earn admiration, but character must be earned through our choices. Pride can make even the brightest star fall. Kindness can raise even the most broken person again. And sometimes, the most important journey is not the one across the world. It is the one that leads us from selfishness to compassion. Thank you for listening to Simple Tales. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more legends, myths, and folk tales from around the world. Until next time, remember, a beautiful face may be a gift, but a beautiful heart is something we must choose every day.